What's good, Commanders fans? Just wanted to go live tonight, man. I had to go live. Basically, closing the chapter on the Jahan Dotson tenure in DC. Made a video early, but I definitely wanted to chat it up with you guys so I could go back and forth. There's a bunch of comments on my video that I posted earlier today, but it's like 273 comments. I probably will not be able to go through all those and get back to you guys. I'm going to try my best to get through those comments, but I just wanted to talk with you guys. It's been a while for sure. The season's starting up, so season heating up and all that good stuff. But Jahan Dotson traded for a third round pick and a couple of seventh rounders. We threw the fifth round pick in with Jahan. As I said before, I'm not the biggest fan of the trade, but I understand. I get it. Rello World 94 says dumb a trade. And it's kind of 50-50, man. It's kind of 50-50, honestly, what I've seen in the comments so far and kind of been back and forth. And whatnot. A lot of people agree with it. And really, over the last couple games or the preseason games, the last couple weeks, a lot of people were soured on Jahan Dotson. I see somebody brought up Brian Mitchell and what he said. When he said what he said about Jahan Dotson, well, I don't know if it was Jahan Dotson, but maybe Brian Mitchell might as well come out and just say it. If it really was Jahan Dotson, Brian Mitchell might as well go on the radio and just say who it was about. I don't know if he did already today, if it really was when he was talking about players acting like a child and bad body language and whatnot. I don't know if he came out and said it today on the radio, but where's the comment where somebody said B Mitch? I think it was Locked on Law. Locked on Law says Jahan is no loss unless you were dumb enough to buy his jersey. I think he is a loss, especially looking at the receiving core. After Terry McLaurin, I know De'Ami Brown has had a good preseason, but he's had good off seasons before, and we've seen nothing from him. So I got to see it to believe it with the De'Ami hype. I got to see it to believe it. And then after that is Olamide or Lamide. And he's only had one really productive year in his career. And he was on the Eagles last year, and he was the fourth option. So it's hard for me to trust the other guys. Luke McCaffrey is a rookie. He just started playing the wide receiver position. And then after, it's like Jamison Crowder, who's more of a punt returner. So our receiving core is probably one of the worst receiving cores in the league. I'm just being real, keeping it real. Even with Jahan, it was probably a bottom 10 core at this point, especially losing Curtis Samuel. But yeah, and then about making a move, there was something that just came out about Brandon Aiyuk. I'm not a big believer that the Aiyuk trade will happen, but he liked the tweet, which doesn't matter. He liked the Instagram post. He said, somebody put up a post that bring him home, Adam Peters at Commanders, and Brandon Aiyuk liked it. And then also Mike Silver said, quote, my updated information is that everything is still on the table, including all the trades you've heard about, the Steelers scenario. I would not rule out Washington. So Mike Silver, if you guys remember him, he's a beat reporter. He was one of Ron Rivera's good friends. He writes for the San Fran Chronicle, and he wrote stuff for the Commanders last year. Now, speaking of Ron Rivera, man, he set us back. He set us back a couple of years, guys, unfortunately. Well, it may not be a couple of years if Adam Peters can jumpstart the rebuild and get us winning some games within the next 2 to 3 years. But looking back at that trade now, we traded, pick 10 or pick 11? We traded back to get pick 16, a third round pick. We got Sam Howell in the fifth. We got Cole Turner in the fifth. Cole Turner is going to be released, in my opinion. Sam Howell got traded. And then B-Rob is still here. And then now Jahan Dotson is no longer on the team. So the only guy that's even being productive is B-Rob out of that trade, and that's it. So looking in hindsight, would you go with Chris Olave or take those guys that are not even on the roster anymore and get B-Rob, and that's really it. So, I mean, he really satisfied. All the first-round picks have been very, very underwhelming. Emmanuel Forbes, Jamin Davis, who I do like, but he's switching to a different position. And then Chase Young's no longer on the roster. So Ron Rivera, Marty Hurney, Martin Mayhew, they really put us in a rough spot. But as far as Jahan, I think he's a super talented player. Had a really good rookie season, 7 touchdowns, some good plays, the spin move against the Giants, the Sunday Night Football catch against the Giants, the first game of the season, his rookie year against the Jags where he caught a touchdown pass, like our first touchdown of the year. That was a beautiful route that he ran. And he had a good rookie year. And then the next year with Eric Bieniemy, kind of got phased out of the offense, kind of phased himself out too. He's not innocent. Had the terrible job against the Giants where Sam Howell kind of it was going to be a tough catch, but you got to catch the football. Jahan dropped it, hands like a snake. Then he had hands like snakes against the Eagles where he dropped a pass. And then the Falcons game, he dropped a pass. And then after that, like Bieniemy kind of had a one-strike rule. Like if you make one bad play, I'm not going back to you. And he didn't go back to Jahan for the rest of the game for a couple of games where Jahan made mistakes. And the whole thing about his strength, him being not physical, him being a finesse guy, they brought in Martavis Bryant because Jahan Dotson struggles to block and get open. He struggles against press and all that. And he just, I guess he just wasn't a fit with Cliff. And there's actually a clip Peter Schrager, who is good friend, who was on NFL Network. He's good friends with Cliff Kingsbury and said that Cliff Kingsbury thought Jahan Dotson was overdrafted. That video came out in 2022. That's circulating on Twitter right now. So just a lot of factors leading up to this. Dan Quinn saying that the wide receiver 2 spot was wide open, and he named Alameda Zaccheaus instead of Jahan Dotson, and went out his way to say Alameda first in that interview. And then B. Mitch with the comments, everybody speculating Jahan Dotson, him struggling to block against the Jets on that screen pass to Terry McLaurin. Then he struggled again to block for a screen pass to De'Ami Brown in the Dolphins game, and him playing with the second string, third string quarterbacks, slipping and falling and bobbling the catch. So it was just a preseason where he didn't stand out, and they started from a clean slate. De'Ami clearly is ahead of him, which I don't agree with. But, I mean, you got to be there to see it, and clearly De'Ami's practicing better than him, and they feel like De'Ami's a better fit at this point. Alameda's a better fit, and they decided to move on. I just don't think – I feel like it wasn't necessary to throw in a fifth-round pick to add on to that. But, you know, who knows how the conversations went with the Eagles GM and whatnot. This is another trade that we're making with the Eagles too, because we made the trade in the draft where the Eagles ended up getting Deshaun Cooper. So Adam Peters has now made 2 trades with the NFC East and 2 trades with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think this is a great spot for Jahan Dotson to be a number 3 guy and not a number 2 guy behind A.J. Brown, behind Devontae Smith, and to be a number 3 guy. I think this is a perfect situation for Jahan Dotson. But I still think I think there's something there. I think there's something there. A lot of Commanders fans soured on Jahan. I still think he's a talented receiver for sure. But I'm gonna get into some of these comments here, guys. I'll probably go for about 45 minutes to an hour. I might be at the Patriots game on Sunday night. It's probably like a 55% chance that I'll be there. 55% chance that I'll be at the Patriots game. Sunday night preseason game. And then some people were speculating that Jahan was going to have to play in that third preseason game if he was here to fight for a roster spot or to fight for a spot on the team. But I think that was a little too far. He's not here anymore, though. So you see how that goes. Let's see here. What's up, Tyler Labor? What's up, man? What's going on? DC, but boy, what's up, man? Keep it one. Good. Dylan Smith says real bad trade only makes sense if we get Aiyuk. So that too. I just talked about Aiyuk a little bit, where Michael Silver came out with the article saying that we're still somewhat and don't rule out Washington. I don't think it's going to happen. It could happen. Now we have a 3rd round pick, so we do have some extra ammo. But I do think the asking price, what they're saying, is a 1st round pick for Brandon Aiyuk, and then you got to pay him because he wants to get paid probably like $25 million to $30 million. So he's going to get paid more than Terry McLaurin, which may not sit well with some people. But the price has gone up for wide receivers for sure. But they do need to add to the wide receiver room. They do need to add because I don't think it's enough. I don't think you have a lot of guys that can get open one-on-ones and get separation, honestly. And then Terry did miss some games last year, knock on wood. So if Terry is out, he missed, 3 or 4 games last year? And then the year before that, I'm going to look it up real quick. He's missed time. Like every year he's missed some time. Not significant time, but Terry has missed time. Not like he's played in all 17 games. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, Terry did play in all 17. That's crazy. Terry played in all 17 games. I'm thinking about the 2020 season where he played in 15 games where, I remember that. He had, I forgot the injury, but he came back in that Eagles game and he played injured. But, yeah, he played in all 17 games 2021, played all 17 games 2022. So, Terry's been an Iron Man, man. He's been an Iron Man. So, but what a defense can do, they're going to be like, hey, we take Terry out the game. De'Ami, you got to beat us. Olamide, you got to beat us. And a lot of defenses are going to do that. But the thing is that Jaden's going to make this team better because, he can use his legs. He's a smart quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's going to put a lot of pressure on the defense. And, you got Zach Ertz, who's playing really well in practice so far. You got Eckler, who's another receiver out there. 50% Payne said the staff really loves helping out the Eagles. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how Deshaun Cooper is. But this is the second trade that Adam Peters has made with the Eagles so far. So we'll see how it shakes out. So we get to see Jahan 2 years. So basically, they don't think that Jahan could hurt us at all. Really, that's what they think of him, and it shows what they think of him to the point where they just moved on. And then, like I said, if it really was the B Mitch thing where Jahan was showing bad body language, maybe they came to a mutual agreement, and Jahan was like, "Hey, man, like I don't see my role in this offense. Diami's ahead of me. Alamida's ahead of me. There's two guys who are ahead of me, and then I just don't feel like I'm fitting in this offense. Trade me back to Pennsylvania, or let me go back to Pennsylvania, or whatever." Maybe they came to an agreement. It was time to move on for both parties. It might have been like that. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. But Jahan, from what I saw, I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was a good person. I remember he got drafted. He was in the plane in the jet with the football, had the football in his hands, the whole ride there and whatnot. So I do remember that. So I think he's a good character guy from the outside looking in. I don't think he's a malcontent or anything like that. Juan Gotti, what's up, man? Shout out to him, man. It was his birthday the other day. Shout out to him. Happy G Day. Happy belated again. He said, "What's good, Ed? My guy, still in shot to be." Yeah, I thought it was phony. I really did. I thought it was like I don't want to say it loud, Sack Sports or the fake Adam Schefter. I thought that's what I thought it was when I saw it pop up on my phone. I didn't believe it because I saw the trade for the kicker this morning, Kate York, and I was like, okay, we're probably done for the day. And then I saw that pop up. And then even the picture that Adam Schefter put up, it was like a little pixely, a little grainy. That made me think it was fake seeing that too. So I couldn't believe it. But then I read the letters and it was ADAMSCHEFTER, not a misspell or a fake or a typo or anything like. I was like, yeah, this is the real legit Adam Schefter, and this is a legitimate trade that just happened. I really couldn't believe it. But I just don't like the part in where you take away weapons for a young quarterback, Jane Daniels. That's the biggest part to me, honestly. I don't like that, and I still feel like Jahan is a guy that can help a team for sure. Keep it 100. He was slot receiver, bro. We got too many of them. Honestly, we don't have too many of anything at this point. I mean, there's a lot of unproven guys. You got a guy in De'Ami Brown, his career high is 12 catches. So I don't know what we got in him. You got Luke McCaffrey, who's a rookie. Martavis Bryant hasn't played since 2018. I mean, that's insane. And it's funny to think about. I mean, the last time he was really putting up numbers, Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback. We were the Skins at the time, Kirk Cousins was playing quarterback at the time. And Jameson Crowder was on the roster. The Deshaun Jackson was putting up numbers the last time Martavis Bryant was putting up numbers. Antonio Brown was on the Steelers. So we're talking about eons ago with Martavis Bryant. And then Byron Pringle, who's never really had a great season. Jameson Crowder, who hasn't had a great season since, 2019? Or a legitimate season? So the receiving core is a big question mark. It's a big, 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 big question mark. Huge question mark. Will said, and then a lot of people saying that this trade kind of signifies that, that they're not trying to win this season. And I see where people say that too, where this is, if they were in win now mode, they probably would have kept them because the more the merrier with receivers. You can never have enough receiver talent. And that they're trying to just get draft capital for the next years and get their guys in. Will says it makes no sense at this specific time. Got to be something else under their sleeves, I hope. Yeah, we'll see. In the waiver wire, that's going to be dire too. So like, it's not like they're going to pick up a great wide receiver to come in off the waiver wire either. It's not like they're going to do that. And receivers that are available at this point is like Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Thomas. I'll pass on those guys. We might as well just stay with what we got right here. Honestly, if we're going to go get those guys, so nobody's going to be released next week, next Tuesday, and really change the roster and make a huge impact on the roster. 50% Pain says Jahan Dodson. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it for Jahan. All the number one Jahan Dotson black jerseys. I know those were going crazy. Those were going off the shelves. A lot of people had those. Anthony Granger said, I just have a feeling it's going to come back to bite us. I actually think he's going to. I think when they play, we play them on Thursday Night Football. We played them on Thursday Night Football, and we play them. Let me see the next time we play them, but. Yeah, bet US. I'm gonna definitely take, like, if they have anytime touchdown score, I might take John, because our secondary is not good, guys. They're just not. We don't have a good secondary. It is what it is. I think we all know that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they force feed the ball, because a lot of times in games, like revenge games, as people like to call them, like they force feed. Yeah, we play them. We don't play them until late in the season. We play them November 14th on Thursday night on Amazon Prime, and then we play the Eagles again on December 22nd at 1 p.m. on Fox at home. So December 22nd, a couple of days before Christmas. So we play the Eagles way late in the season, but they're gonna try to force feed Jahan Dotson when we play him. So we'll see what Mikey Sanders still does against him. That's the only person that I trust in the secondary right now, other than the safeties. Like the only corner that I really trust consistently right now is Mikey Sanders. So that's really it. Other than that, Emmanuel Ford is getting cooked by third string guys, and Ben St. Juste getting cooked by third string guys. That's about it. Steve Ergo says, good to see you. Hey, man. What's up, man? It's been a long time for the live stream. It's been a long time. I'm gonna try my best to go live next week after the 53-man roster. I'm gonna try to get my guys on here, my elite channel members, and react to that. 50% pain once again says, really thought Jahan and Jaden could have a great connection, but oh well. Yeah, apparently they did not. I mean, I know they had a couple good practices. And the funny thing is that when when B-Miss said what he said about Jahan or about somebody having bad body language in practice, apparently Jahan had one of his good practices. And people are saying that Jahan was mic'd up yesterday. I didn't watch that on YouTube, but a lot of people say he was mic'd up and he was talking about his drip and whatnot. So that is ironic that they had him mic'd up yesterday and they ended up trading him today. I know Cliff Kingsbury talked about Jahan a couple weeks ago, said that he was a good player and all that, coach speak and stuff like that. But today it really shows what they really thought about him. And the 2 preseason games were very, very telling. And that's that they had him playing in the second half. And the Dolphins game, he wasn't really able to connect with Jahan on that one pass. It went, 2 yards away from him, and then he wasn't able to block on screens. That's just not his forte. But with the Eagles, they're going to use him in a different role where he's going to be the third string wide receiver. They're not going to ask him to block and different things like that. They have a role for him. And I think he's gonna do okay. He'll probably have like 40. He'll probably do what he did here, 40 catches, something like that. He's not gonna have no crazy 1,000-yard season or anything like that. He'll probably have like 40 catches. He'll be solid. I think he's gonna do what they would need him to do. He'll be an upgrade over guys like Quez Watkins and Olamide for them last year. He's gonna be a solid number 3 for them. He's gonna play well for them. Ty Lau realized says, why to the Eagles? Yeah, man, I hate that too. I hate trading guys within the division. Like if they want to trade draft picks, okay, I get it. I'm not a big fan of that either. But you want to make your team better. Maybe there's some other teams. Somebody else said that somebody tweeted out that there were a lot of calls for Jahan Dotson. So like a lot of people were watching, like, hey, like, and that tells you what other teams think about him because nobody's calling for Emmanuel Forbes. So you see that, but people were calling for Jahan Dotson. Like other teams were calling for him because they see the talent in Jahan. So other teams were reaching out for him. Other teams were reaching out for him. I'm trying to find where it said other teams were calling for Jahan Dotson. Like the last couple days, teams reached out to the Commanders for Jahan Dotson, and apparently they made the move today. But yeah, I mean, this is not the first time Adam Peters has done it with the Eagles. I remember the Cowboys and the Eagles, they made a trade in the draft, and the Eagles ended up getting Devontae Smith. That was the famous trade that happened a couple years ago. But epitome of suave, yes. Dyami Brown, this is a huge year for him. But I do like the connection that he has with Jaden Daniels. He's looked really good in preseason. He's looked really good. He had 3 catches like early against the Dolphins in that first quarter. He looked really good. So I'm trying to be a believer in Dyami Brown, but it's hard to trust in that right now. Locked on Law says, no, I do think this means they are signing some big name price wide receiver. I think it means Jahan was lazy, just like Brian Mitchell said. I don't know about that. But as far as a big price receiver, we'll see on that. I hope they are aggressive. If it's not this year, then they gotta be aggressive next year. They gotta be aggressive in the draft or trading for somebody or free agency. They got to bring in another guy. We don't have enough guys that can separate other than Terry and produce. But we'll see what Dyami does. Keep it 100 says now we need to get rid of some of them corners who are butt. Yeah, we don't have a lot of guys at the cornerback spot. We don't. Like I said, it's probably one of the weakest positions on the team, other than Mikey Sanders. Still, I don't see anybody else that I really trust right now. When you see Emmanuel Forbes getting beat by third string receivers and third string, second string quarterbacks, and then Ben St. Juste getting beat by River Craft in the preseason, then yeah, the quarterback spot is definitely it's a sore spot. It's a sore spot. So yeah, King Ghidorah, that is something that everybody has said. Han is not physical enough. We knew that coming out of the draft. And Ron Rivera took a chance on him and Scott Turner and Marty Mayhew. I mean, not Scott Turner. Yeah, Scott Turner, Marty Herney, Martin Mayhew. Like they never went with kind of like the most talented player. They went with who they thought would fit their scheme or their system or whatever on their board. Their board always kind of zagged or zigged against consensus, which I don't believe always going with consensus. But sometimes it's like, hey man, you just got to go with the better player. Like, is it Olave? Then you go with Olave. Or Kyle Hamilton at the time. I know a lot of people wanted Kyle Hamilton. They wanted Chris Olave. And those guys are balling with their teams. They are. And Jahan Dotson had a good year. So I'm not sitting up here and acting like Jahan Dotson's scrub. Like, he had a good year. Excuse me, his rookie year, but he just hasn't panned out. That last year, it was rough. It was rough with him dropping passes and then just not seeing eye to eye with Eric Bieniemy. Will says we now have the worst secondary and worst receiving corps and bottom tier O-line right now. Yes, for secondary, cornerback room is probably one of the worst cornerback rooms in the league. I think that's a fact. Michael Davis, we'll see what we get from him. 1 year he's good, 1 year he's bad. So last year he had a down year. The year before they had a good year. So usually even years he has good years. So we'll see what we get from him. But secondary wise, yes, we need help. We need help bad. And once again, the waiver wire is not gonna just solve everything. It's not a 1 year fix. That's the thing too. It is a recalibration or a research and development. But as far as the receivers, you got to get guys in here to help your young quarterback. The quarterback's best friend, other than the offensive line, is your receivers, your weapons. So I do want him to have more than just a reliable Terry McLaurin. I want him to have other guys that are reliable. I do like Zach Ertz, but he is on the older side. But you do have Ben Sinnott, who's younger and has a lot of potential too. So, but I do want to see them bring in more weapons. They got to attack the offensive line too. I know Brandon Coleman right now is looking like he probably will not start week 1 because of the pec injury. Excuse me, he's week to week. So it looks like Cornelius Lucas probably will start week 1. And then Wiley with a couple penalties in that preseason game. So we'll see how the offensive line is. I do like the interior though. I do like Sam Cosmi. I do like Tyler Biotic. But the tackles are a question mark for sure. Lockdown Law said De'Ami can go too. He's done nothing. Yeah, I mean, if he goes, then you really, I don't. Yeah, this receiving core is kind of like it's really just up in the air. It's like you don't know what you got at all. I still don't know what we got in De'Ami because he hasn't been consistent. Like you said, Lockdown, he hasn't done anything other than the Titans game. That's the only thing I really remember that he's done so far. The Titans game, and that's about it. And then he had one catch on Trayvon Diggs, and that's it. Other than that, he hasn't really done much. But it's a clean slate for everybody. So we'll see what happens. Tyler realized says never thought De'Ami Brown would start over Jahan Dotson. I never thought that would happen. That was probably the surprise of the mini camp, training camp preseason. I think this probably is like the biggest surprise. Like going into this year, a lot of people in the offseason was like, "Oh, Jahan's gonna have a breakout season. He's gonna bounce back from last year, struggling with Bieniemy, struggling with dropping passes. He's gonna have a good year with Cliff Kingsbury and whatnot." But apparently, it didn't go that way. He didn't stand out in practice. He was not able to beat out De'Ami Brown. Wasn't able to beat out Zacchaeus. And now we see him traded for a 3rd-round pick attached with a 5th-round pick to the Eagles within the division. That's how much they wanted to get rid of him. Was that they were willing to trade within the division. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Ravi Ray, what's up, man? He said that's crazy that people think Jahan, we're going to now lose 2 to 3 additional games. People really value Jahan, thinking that he was worth that many wins is insane to me. I think the only thing is that the way defenses are going to play us right now, like they're going to look at Terry and be like, hey, that's it. Honestly, like somebody else has to come out there and beat him and beat guys and get open. And that's the biggest thing for me. Like we just don't have a lot of wide receiver. We don't have a lot of explosiveness at the wide receiver position. We don't have guys that can just get open right now at this point. It's a lot of unproven guys. It's a lot of unproven guys, and you're really relying on Zacchaeus, who's really a wide receiver 3, 4 on a good team, 5 on a good team, and De'Ami Brown, who hasn't really done much at all. DMV Bay, thank you for the donation. He says, if we need to upgrade in the draft next year, check out Chris Lewis, wide receiver for Troy, big physical, freakish athlete with many one-handed catches. Yeah, I'll definitely check him out. I know there's a receiver from Arizona who's really darn good. I forgot his name, but yeah, we got to get We got to get a receiver. We got to get a receiver, a corner, offensive lineman. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of positions that we got to attack. But we're in year one of the Adam Peters era, so there's a lot of things that we got to get. There's a lot of things that we got to get next year. So wide receiver is on the list. I do see a couple Eagles fans in here, pretty hyped up that they got Jahan Dotson. Pretty excited about that. And King G says Mike will shut down Jahan Dotson. So we'll see. Yeah, man, that's our best corner on the team. If Jahan's gonna be in the slot, that's where Mikey's gonna be. That's where he's gonna be. Mask Collector, shout out to Mask Collector. He says, laugh my butt off. Yeah, DME is like the boy who cried wolf in preseason. That's fair, but the Jugs machine practice since February changes everything potentially. I will say this about De'Ami Brown. I am happy that he has gotten on the Jugs machine. I am happy about that. He has gotten on the Jugs machine. He said he's caught like 500 footballs a day. So that is great. That is great. That's a good trajectory for him improving and getting better. I will say that. I do want to see improved route running, being more physical with route running and whatnot, getting open. But he's done a really good thing. He's done a lot of good things in preseason so far. But once again, it's preseason. We've seen this before from him. So I don't want to be duped and fooled and hoodwinked by De'Ami Brown looking good in the offseason. I got to see it in real games. But he has a good connection with Jaden Daniels. That's one thing I will say. Let's see here. Brown, a deep threat. This is his year. We'll see. Mikey Bomber says Forbes is garbage. It's another Ron Rivera pick. We'll see about him. Once again, this is a make or break year for Emmanuel Forbes. If he actually has some value, he probably would have been traded too. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded too. But he has no value after last year. Like he hasn't shown anything. Jahan has shown that he can do like 7 touchdowns. He's shown he's able to produce and get open in the league. He has shown that. Philly D says very strange trading him unless y'all making a move for Brandon Aiyuk. We'll see. I mean, I would like for that to happen, but Adam Peters, he doesn't want to give up a first round pick, so I think it's unlikely. But you just never know what happens in this league. They got to make a move soon. Of course, the season is about to start. But Terry and Brandon Aiyuk with Jaden Daniels, that connection. Aiyuk loves it here. I said they need a restraining order almost on Brandon Aiyuk after him posting pictures, liking pictures and being with Jaden at the mall and taking selfies. I mean, I know they're good friends, but it's like every other week we saw Brandon Aiyuk connected with Jaden Daniels. And then on the Pivot podcast, he thinks the Commanders and the Steelers. So it's like every week we saw something from Brandon Aiyuk hinting that he wants to come to the Commanders. So we'll see if that happens. I don't think it will happen. I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened back in the draft time when they were interested. But I think I'm not going to say the ship is sailed. Maybe they can revisit next year and this happens. But I would love to see Aiyuk with Terry and Jaden Daniels. I think that would be a nasty duo for the wide receiver core. John Medrino, how long do you think Adam Peters also has had Jahan trade on his mind? That's a good question. Well, I guess it was telling that what they thought of him. Dan Quinn too. Like Dan Quinn just came out and said that the wide receivers 2 spot was wide open. We're still really looking at it. He brought up Zacchaeus and he brought up other guys and didn't really mention Jahan Dotson. And then they asked him again. I think the next day he had to backtrack and kind of talk about how good he is, what he thinks of him, stuff like that. He kind of had to like save face a little bit about it. So maybe after the Jets game, and then I would say maybe the Jets game. And then maybe after the Dolphins joint practice, I would say that too. Like Jahan just looked down. You saw his body language in the presser and the confidence you could kind of see in his face. Just reading his facial expression, he said he's not anywhere near where he wanted to be. So maybe around that time, I would say, and then kind of seeing after the De'Ami catch against the Jets, maybe. So I would say maybe after the Dolphins game. Or after the Dolphins joint practice, and then they started getting cold. I think after they saw how little he played or how long he played in the Jets game, and then De'Ami Brown stepping up. Other teams are watching film, obviously, and they started to make calls. I can't find the tweet, but somebody tweeted out other teams did call the Commanders. It wasn't just the Eagles. Like other teams were calling the Commanders to check on availability of Jahan Dotson to see what's really good. And we know how aggressive Howie Roseman is. He's very aggressive, and if he wants talent, he goes out there and gets it. And that's kind of what I want Adam Peters to do coming up, for the next couple of years. I want him to be very, very aggressive. I want him to be very aggressive to help Jaden Daniels out at all costs. Joe and Irika Fletcher says T. Higgins is a good option. Yeah, I would like him too, man. There's a lot of money involved. I don't know how realistic that is, but I wouldn't mind that either. I wouldn't mind that either. I know some people were throwing around Amari Cooper, but he got an extension. CD Lamb, I don't see that really happen. I know the betting odds have us as the best betting odds to land CD Lamb next season or whenever. But I that's a pipe dream right there too. I think T. Higgins is not. I wouldn't really get my hopes up for T. Higgins. Dadwood Jones says thanks for Jahan Dotson, definitely our third wide receiver. Eagles offense should be really good. Yeah, it will be fine. I mean, you guys are going to be fine with or without him, honestly, with Saquon. But we'll see what happens with you guys in the playoffs. That's the big thing. What happens in the playoffs and your defense too? Like, is your secondary better? Because the secondary was awful for the Eagles last year, and we cut you guys secondary up last year pretty bad. So, but Jahan will help though. Like the Eagles, they got a good player today. They got a good player. He's going to help. He's an upgrade from whatever they had last year, like Zacchaeus and Quez Watkins the other couple of years, their third receivers. Like he's better than those guys. He's really the fourth option, like because Dallas Goedert, he's not a receiver, but he catches a lot of footballs. He's going to get a lot of catches. Robbie Ray says just because a lot of teams are calling about a player doesn't mean they're going to give you anything of significant value. Yeah, I mean that is true too. We don't know what they offered, but it shows that that he's a player that teams want, that he can make an impact on the game, that he can help. Ofto says another world says 2025 brings two third rounders and a possible 6th round conditional so far. So the 2 third-round picks, you can see what Adam Peters does. Does he move up into the second round like he did last year or this past draft, getting Ben Sinnott and Mikey Sanders still? Is he creative like that? Does he use that 3rd-round pick to trade for a receiver or somebody else? Like, what does he do? So I want to see what does he do with the 3rd-round pick? What does he do with 2 third-round picks? Does he move up in the draft or does he use it to trade for a guy? Ofto, we made a trade, a couple more round picks for picks next year. Recalibration is indeed happening. Yes, it is. James is going to make the roster. Just thinking about the Ron Rivera picks. Fedarian Mathis, he's on the bubble. I don't know if he makes the roster. My last 53-man roster, I didn't have him making the roster. I had John Ridgeway making the roster over him for the last defensive tackle. And then Jamin's going to make the roster now. He saved his life in DC. He was going to get released. I'm not going to say for sure he was going to release because Jordan McGee got injured. So he probably was going to make the roster anyway, but he definitely cemented his role on the team or his spot on the team. And then Percy Butler, he's a toss-up. Derek Forrest is a toss-up. Like, those guys, Derek Forrest might fool around. He might not make the roster. And I like Derek Forrest. That's another guy I like. But if he's going, it's like, that's just how it's going with this new regime. Like, these are guys that I like. I like Jahan Dotson. I like Derek Forrest. But it's just how the new regime goes. It's just how it goes. A lot of Philly fans in the chat. I see my guy Philly Mike. Shout out to him. I know he's hyped. I know he's excited. Philly fans always, whenever they get a trade or anything, any signing, they get excited. They get super excited. Every year. They always think they're going to get every player that is a free agent or possibly going to be traded. And they end up doing it because Howie Roseman is that kind of GM. He goes after everybody. Whatever big name. Like, I remember they signed Dominic and Sue and some old defensive tackles after we beat them on Monday Night Football with Heineke. And they went out and signed the oldest guys they could find. And Philly fans were hyped for him, Dominic and Sue, like a 40-year-old Sue and Dominic and Sue. And they were hyped. That's how Eagles fans are. Jay Hunter Lee said, "What's good, Ed? Hey, Adam Peters knows something we don't. Remember when the Eagles traded D-Mac to us?" Yeah, I mean, maybe there was something, like I said, maybe Jahan Dotson might have expressed some frustrations too, and just saw how it was shaking out, was ready to move on. That's what I was saying. Like, was the bad body language guy that B Mitch talked about? Was it Jahan Dotson? Maybe it was not. But yeah, and then when they traded Donovan McNabb to us, yes, that ended up not being good at all. We got the washed version of Donovan McNabb. We got the washed up Donovan McNabb. Andy Reid did it to us again. Andy Reid with the trades to DC. Anytime he makes a trade, anytime Andy Reid is willing to trade with us, we should have said no. We should have turned down the trade. Even though I liked Alex Smith. Like, Alex Smith wasn't bad. Like, him coming back from the injury and helping us get to the playoffs. Like, Alex Smith, if he would have stayed healthy, we were 6-3 that year. I'm not going to go back into history and all that, but we were 6-3. We were 6-2 at one time, actually, with Alex Smith. So that trade, if it wasn't for the terrible catastrophic injury that he actually came back from, that was not the worst trade. I hated giving up Kendall Fuller, but Alex Smith was like one of the better quarterbacks that we had. He's actually one of the few quarterbacks that ended up leaving or ended his Washington career with a winning record. Like that rarely, rarely happens. A quarterback having a winning record in DC. And this is what I'm hearing all the time. So a lot from people. So Jermazzi says Jahan is soft, entitled, and thinks he's better than he is. Plus has been struggling. That's why he was traded. He was becoming cancerous to the team. So we don't know if he was cancerous though. That's the thing I'm saying. But like I said, behind closed doors, who knows? Who knows if he wasn't, if he was ready to move on too? That could have happened. And maybe they came to a mutual agreement, like, hey, this is just not working out for us. We want to move on and look at other guys. And if you want to go back to Pennsylvania, hey, we got a trade on the table for you. Let's make this happen. That possibly could have happened. But yes, he does struggle to block. That's the reason why they brought in Martavis Bryant, who hasn't played since 2018. They may have a plan for him. I think Martavis Bryant's going to make the practice squad. I don't think he'll make the roster. I think he'll make the practice squad. De'Ami Brown he's a good blocker in the run game or for screens. And Luke McCaffrey's a good blocker too. He's a willing blocker too. But Jahan's talented, man. He's going to help out the Eagles. Jahan, yeah, he's going to make plays. He is. He's going to make plays. Like, he's still a talented player. Let's see here. A lot of Eagles fans are very happy. A lot of Eagles fans are very hyped up, as they always do. They get hyped up after every move they make. Let's get spaced. Says, been watching for years. Ed, love the channel. Thank you, man. I appreciate you that. I appreciate you for that. Thank you for tuning in, as always, man. It's going to be a fun season coming up, man. I think it's going to be a good year. It may not be a lot of, who cares about win-losses this year? I mean, we do care, of course. But it's all about the development of Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels he's going to have a good season. He's going to have a fun season. I think he's going to play really, really well. And he's going to make guys better around him. Jermazi, agree 100%. He can get the freak out of here. I'd much rather have the third rounder for Peters to work with than another Ron reject first round bust. So now he is a bust for us. I hate to say that. And I don't like to call people busts, but I'm not going to call him a bust. I'm going to just say, hey, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. I'm going to say that. But rookie year, Jahan, it's crazy because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Jahan, he could be a better route runner than Terry McLaurin. He could be better than Terry. Like, a lot of people were saying that. Like, an anonymous source, I think, like Kevin Sheehan said, anonymous person said to him that Jahan may be better than Terry. I was like, whoa, hold your horses, guys. Hold the brakes and all of that. Like, he only, he had a good rookie season, but let's not get too carried away. And then we see him next year, and he just, he's not physical enough. That is the knock on him. That is a knock on him. And we know this kind of report on him. So, but we just don't, with the corners we have, I just don't trust them at all. That's the thing. I just don't trust our corners at all to really shut down anybody, because we're talking about they're going to shut down Jahan Dotson when they can't shut down River Craft. And the other guy from the Jets, I can't even remember the guy's name. Damon says, you want Bradbury? No, we don't want James Bradbury. A couple years ago, yeah, but now we were good. And I love when Philly fans see the funny thing is, James Bradbury was so bad in that playoff game against the Buccaneers. Like, he couldn't tackle, he couldn't cover, he couldn't do anything. Like, he was so bad. He was so awful. Slade wasn't good either. Like, the Eagles secondary had a rough year last year too. They give a lot of yards, a lot of yards to the air for sure. But no, we're good on Bradbury. You guys can keep that over there. You guys can keep Bradbury over there for sure. Move them all out. Get everything Rivera with a few exceptions. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it's trending. Like I said, for Darian Mathis, we'll see. He's on the bubble. Jamin Davis is going to make the roster now. Percy Butler is a toss-up. Derek Forrest, honestly, is a toss-up at this point too. Cole Turner, I don't think he's going to make the roster. I don't have him making the roster. I just don't. I don't have him making the roster. I'm trying to think of other Rivera guys. Sam Cosmi, like the only guy for sure. And then Brian Robinson is like the only, him and B-Rob and Cosmi, like the only guys you can really put as like, they're going to be legitimate contributors to the roster. That is about it. Jahan cannot get open and gets locked up as soon as the cornerback touches him off the line. That does happen, but I mean, we've seen it get open though. I mean, like, explain the rookie year to me. I know it was 2 years ago, but explain it to me. It looked like he was getting fine getting open to me. I thought he was fine getting open. So to say he doesn't get open is is not true. And press, yes, he struggles against press. He struggles against physicality. That is true. But to say like he's not a good player is not true. Yeah, Cokless name, you didn't say he's not a good player, but to some people are acting like he's just trash, which is not right. Like he can help a team, and he's in a perfect role right now with the Eagles as a third receiver, as a fourth option. Mass Collection says you have to have Bradbury for Logan Thomas. Yeah, and the Eagles, they take our stuff too. Like Armani Rogers, we cut him and they immediately picked him up. So they love our guys. They love our players with a passion. They love our players. Neil Watson says with Howie, all things are possible. Howie, I give Howie credit. He's very aggressive. Not everything works. Like signing Sue and the safety you guys signed last year. I forgot the guy's name. Bradbury hasn't worked out. Bradbury's basically like another Nnamdi Asomugha signing for you guys. And then the safety you guys signed last year, I forgot his name, or you traded for him. I forgot that trade, but that didn't work out either. Let me find the guy's name. What's the guy's name that y'all traded for? Was it Kevin Byard? Yeah, Kevin Byard. You released Kevin Byard already. So that didn't work out. Terrell Edmonds. You traded for Byard, and you guys released him, and that didn't work out for you guys. So a lot of moves that you guys make, and that's the thing with being aggressive and kind of being a Madden type of GM that he is. A lot of those things don't work out. Some of them hit, but a lot of them don't. Who's the linebacker you guys signed last year that was washed up too? Was it Zach? Who was the guy from the Colts? Was it y'all signed a linebacker from the Colts too? I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. And he was washed. Yeah, Shaq Leonard. And he was washed for y'all too. So y'all been signing some old players and getting washed up people lately. So that's what Eagles fans have done for sure. Stop hating. I'm going to keep it real with the Eagles. I'm going to keep it real. We'll see you guys on Thursday Night Football later this year. Lemus said, man, Jahan got butterfingers and can't get open while the fan base attached to him. Yeah, it's the rookie year, man. You saw the potential in his rookie year. He had a good season. Like, let's not fake like he didn't have a good season. People faking like he didn't have a good season. Let's not do that, guys. Like Jahan, he's a good player. Let's not act like he's not a good player. That's one thing I won't do. I'm not gonna act like he's not a good player. He's a good player. He can help a team. Like he can definitely do that. He can definitely help a team. You just got to put him in the right situation. Like whatever way Scott Turner was using him that rookie year, like that's the way you got to use him. That's just what you got to do. And if you use him that way in the red zone as a threat too, like he can get open, he can get touchdowns. Like that's a fact. You know, you say what you want to say about Jahan, call him soft and stuff, but he can make plays. Let's not act like he can't make plays. All right. Aiyuk to the Commanders, they posted it. Yeah, he liked something. He did like a tweet, but like I said, we've seen Aiyuk like stuff all the time. So I can't get hyped over social media and whatnot. I can't do that. So we've seen a lot. We've seen him post pictures of a still frame of a practice. And we just, we'll see what happens with Aiyuk. I'll see what happens when I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it with Brandon Aiyuk. Jimmy Z said, I'm worried about the weapons and I'm worried about Daniels getting murdered because our line sucks again. So the weapons, yes, I am concerned. About the weapons. I think we have a lot of work to do with the wide receiver core. Other than Terry, it's kind of like, okay, you know what's going to happen. The game plan for a lot of teams, they're going to try to take Terry out the game, and then they're going to be like, hey, somebody else has to beat us. That's what teams are going to do. Because we don't have another guy that's really going to put fear in a defense. We don't have anybody else other than Terry. Like let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100 at the wide receiver spot. And then offensive line. I wouldn't say it sucks just yet. I got to see more. But yeah, Lucas, who is a swing tackle, is probably going to be your starting left tackle, and then Andrew Wiley, who struggled and was up and down last year, is your starting right tackle. So a lot of people who are kind of going in on Cliff Kingsbury and trying to like ding Jane Daniels in the preseason because there was a lot of like quick throws and quick hitters, not a lot of long developing routes. I would kind of stick to that. Like I know there's going to be times you're going to have to drop them back. There are going to be some long development routes and whatnot, but I like the up-tempo offense that they did. And you're not going to be able to do up-tempo all the time and no huddle, but I think at best for Jaden's interest is to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Let's not Eric Bieniemy style drop him back 50 times like they did with Sam Howell and have long developing routes. Like that's the opposite of what we want to see. So for all the analytical guys who are talking about, oh, we just haven't seen much from Jaden Daniels and we haven't seen him drop back a lot. I don't want to see him drop back a lot. Why? I don't want to see him drop back a lot. I want to see him use his legs, be a dual threat quarterback, put pressure on the defense, and open up things for B-Rob, open up things for Eckler. I'm not trying to see him drop back 45 times like we did with Sam Howell. Now, and with Cliff, another thing to point out, too, is that Terry McLaurin has been lining up on the same side a lot. I think they said like 26 out of 29 times he's lined up on the left side of the field. That is something that happened with DeAndre Hopkins, so be ready for that, guys. You know, I don't know if that's going to translate to be good or bad, but that's something with Cliff Kingsbury's offense that he has done. So that's something to keep an eye on, too. You know, will we be an up-tempo offense? Will we be will they do a lot of no-huddle and whatnot? But I think our run game, GMs are scared to death, apparently, per Jeremy Fowler, of what Jaden Daniels could be. And he had a good preseason. Todd Labor, let's not speak that into existence. I'd be really upset if they trade Terry. Yeah, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. We know that. That's like all we got at the receiver position right now. That's about it. And Barracuda says Jimmy R-line doesn't suck. I would say they don't suck, but they're a middle tier offensive line at this point. They're like a middle tier to lower tier offensive line, but I think we have enough to get the job done. Like Biotis is a good center. Cosby's a darn good right guard. Wiley's iffy. I don't really know. I can't really trust him too much. And then Cornelius Lucas is a swing tackle. And then Allegretti hasn't really started many games for the Chiefs. Like he was a backup left guard. Then he came in the Super Bowl and played well. But he doesn't have like a full legitimate season under his belt too. So there's a lot of question marks on the offensive line. That's a fact. Locked on Lost said he underperformed his draft position. Yeah, he did. Jamin Davis did. Mayo Forbes has for sure. Chase Young did too, unfortunately. But honestly, like out of the guys who I thought was the best out of the Ron Rivera draft picks, I was saying Jahan Dotson at one point. After that rookie season, I really did say out of the guys that he drafted. I mean, Chase Young, the rookie season, that's about it. But other than that, James has been underwhelming. Emmanuel Forbes was really bad last year. But it's kind of like we're comparing. It's a low bar for these guys. But Jahan, like, to me, I thought he had the most potential out of the Ron Rivera draft picks. But apparently this regime does not think so at all. They're ready to move on from him and send him to a team within the division and attach a 5th round pick to him just to move on. Damon said, see, Eagles fans are getting crazy now. They're getting delusional. They make one trade or make a bunch of trades, and now they think they can trade for anybody. Terry for a 2nd and a 4th and a 7th. That's very disrespectful, Damon. Very disrespectful. He said, we'll give you Ballberry for a package versus a Puma sweat. See, that's that Philly talk. Neil Watson, yeah, we'll give you guys a Philly cheesesteak for Bradbury. We don't want Bradbury though. Jimmy Z says Neil Watson, yeah, a bust. He had poor attitude and got traded after 2 years. See, the thing is, like, poor attitude. How do we know he really had poor attitude? That's something that we don't know for sure. And because Jahan, Ron drafted nice guys. Like, you think about that too. Like, Ron, his motto was drafting nice guys. Military guys with good backgrounds and whatnot. I think Jahan Dotson was a guy with a good background, really nice guy, not a mean bone in his body. So the attitude things, like, I guess people are basing this off of what B. Mitch had to say, but I didn't see any attitude problems from what I saw with him. I think he didn't. He did put his head down last year a lot because he was dropping passes, mad at himself and whatnot. But who knows? I think the body language did not look great in that Dolphins after the presser. Like, he looked down and whatnot. But I think a fresh start for him probably is for the better. And they are going to tolerate it. And he was bad last year. Yeah, he was not good last year. That is true. He had a down year. Yes, a bust for us. Yes, unfortunately, yeah. I hate to say bust, but yes, unfortunately, like that. And we'll just group them all together. Like Cole Turner, bust. He's a 5th round pick. Sam Howell didn't work out. But that trade was a bust. Altogether, the trade was a bust. The trading back trade was a bust. It was a bust of a trade. Lama says the Eagles corners are overrated. Yeah, their corners, like Slay is on his last leg. We see what Terry does to Slay. Terry cooks Slay all the time. Terry cooks Slay in every game. Every time we play the Eagles, Terry cooks Slay. Like Terry is Slay's father at this point, basically. Raymond Johnson said, well, Dotson did have 11 touchdowns as a commander, so there's that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like Jahan Dotson, like he put up some numbers. He's not like people act like he's Josh Dotson. Josh Dotson was awful. Like you want to talk about a bust? Josh Dotson was a bust. He was the definition of a bust. He had hands like a snake, couldn't catch, couldn't run routes, was slow. He wasn't physical either. Like there was no value there. We just had to cut him. We had to straight up just cut Josh Dotson. At least we were able to trade Josh Dotson and get something for him. Like Dotson, like there was no, and Dotson was out of the league after like 2 years. Like Jahan Dotson's still going to be in the league for at least 3-4 years. Josh Dotson was out of the league. Like he just wasn't an NFL player. He just wasn't. Dewad Jones says Commanders will have a lot of cap space next season, most in the league. Yeah, we got a lot of cap space now. That's why, like, I do want to see Adam Peters be aggressive. Like, no holding back. Be aggressive. Like, you got to take advantage of Jaden Daniels being on a rookie contract. You gotta take advantage because you look at the Texans, what they're doing with CJ Stroud being on a rookie contract. They're being aggressive. The Eagles being aggressive. They did pay Jalen Hurts, but when Jalen Hurts was on a rookie deal, they traded for AJ Brown. Like you got to be aggressive while guys on a rookie contract. Like and Jaden Daniels, I believe he's going to be a really good quarterback. So in a couple of years, you're going to have to pay him big money. So you got to take advantage of him being on a rookie deal and being able to make moves and pay other guys. King Best Jr. says mess around too long and McLaurin gonna want out. Let's not speak that into existence. But you know, McLaurin he loves it here in DC. He got paid, so I mean he's gotten everything that he's wanted from this team. He's earned everything that he's gotten as well. But like I said, if you trade for Aiyuk, he is gonna be looking around. Like if Aiyuk comes in here and gets like $28 million, and Terry's still at 23, then Terry probably will be like, hey man, like hey, I gotta get a raise or something, like a restructure or something like that, you know. So that could happen. Let's talk Aiyuk trade rumors are flying in. I read this earlier. I'll read the tweet one more time that I saw earlier. I mean, we've had rumors about Aiyuk for the past 3-4 months, like every other day. Michael Silver says, fluid situation. My updated information is that everything is still on the table, including all trades that you've heard about. That Steelers scenario, he said that Steelers scenario, ... I would not rule out Washington as well. And that's how he ends his quote. That's how he ends the article, talking about Washington being involved with Brandon Aiyuk. But I don't my optimism on getting Brandon Aiyuk is not high. It's not high at all. I think honestly the smoke has been larger than the actual fire. Now they were interested in him, and we do have a little bit more capital with a 3rd round pick. Maybe they might sweeten a deal. Adam Peters has a good rapport with the Niners, obviously, so maybe they work something out. But you know, I definitely would get on the phone with them for sure. They've already been on the phone already. We know what Adam Peters knows what the asking price is. Maybe it's gone down a little bit. We'll see. But yes, they definitely should be aggressive for Brandon Aiyuk. The only thing is just the money we got to pay him, the money that he's asking for. But him and Jaden Daniels reuniting, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And this receiving core would be a lot better than with Terry and Brandon Aiyuk. Like that would be nasty. I would love to see that. Let's see here. Jahan was wide receiver 1 under Wentz, basically. Yeah, Wentz did. Like Wentz was awful, but he did like Jahan Dotson. That's one thing. He did like Jahan Dotson a lot. Like he was his go-to guy. He did fool with Jahan Dotson. That is a fact. That's one thing I noticed with Jahan Dotson. Like he did fool with Jahan. Like the Lions game, the touchdown he threw to Jahan, and then the first game I told you with the Jaguars, like he found Jahan pretty early for the touchdown. Heineke and Jahan had a good connection too, though. Like Jahan had the 2 Giants games. Jahan played really well. The San Fran game, he had a good game against the Niners, even though he had a couple of drops. But yeah, the rookie year was really good. Like it was very promising. Like a lot of fans got hyped about Jahan. Like a lot of fans were going as far to say that he could be better than Terry McLaurin. I thought people were drunk saying that for sure. And we saw that. Yeah, they definitely were drunk saying that. Yeah, Jahan had 6 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown against the against the Niners. his rookie year, he had 4 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown against the Giants, where we lost 20-12. He also had 5 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown against the Giants. And then he had 3 catches for 72 yards against the Cowboys in the last game of the year. And he had 5 catches for 59 yards. And he had 2 touchdowns against the Jacksonville. Like, his first game as a rookie, he had 2 touchdowns. That's insane. Like, that is insane, though. Like, let's be real. 2 touchdowns your first game as a rookie, like, that is insane. But other than that, it just went downhill. It went downhill after his rookie year. Philly, I guess I'll read a couple Eagles fans here. He says, did the Eagles sign Zach Cunningham too? They signed Zach Cunningham. They did that too, didn't they? They did that too, didn't they? Philly, he says Jahan had trash quarterbacks throwing him. Now he has Jalen Hurts throwing him. Yeah, he had inconsistent quarterback play. Philly Talk Podcast says, don't act like you wouldn't win Howie. I do. One thing I will say about Howie, I like his aggressiveness. Getting Saquon Barkley too, like that's a big boy move. That's a big boy move. That was a big boy move. I give Howie some credit for that. I give him credit for trading for AJ Brown. I give him credit for drafting Jalen Hurts when you still had Carson Wentz on the roster. That was a big boy move too. So he's had some good moves. He's had some really bad moves too, like Sue, Bradbury turning into Asamoah 2.0, Nnamdi Asamoah 2.0. Bringing in Shaquille Leonard when he's washed up, trading for Kevin Byard, releasing him. So he's had some misses, some gaffes for sure. Jalen Reagor, that was really bad. That will go down in history for sure. But he's had some good moves for sure. I'll give Howie some credit. But yeah, Adam Peters is coming, man. He's on his way. He's coming. I want to see an aggressive Adam Peters. I want to see it may not be this year, but next year I want to see an aggressive Adam Peters. You got the cap space. I don't want any excuses next season. I don't want to see any excuses with the moves. I don't want to see a whole bunch of, the 1-year deals are cool. Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong, and 1-year flyers on guys and stuff like that. That's cool to start off with a rebuilding year, seeing what you got, evaluating the roster, seeing what you got in Jaden Daniels first, bringing in Alameda Zacchaeus on a 1-year deal, whatnot, stuff like that, and signing an old 2018 Martavis Bryant. Moves like that, okay, it's cool to start off, but next year I want to see him, mash the gas a little bit, turn up on him. That's what I want to see next year. But of course, calculated moves at the same time. So I do want to see that. Demetrius Sanders says, man, I'm going to miss Jahan Dotson. So, yeah, I mean, it's the nature of the game. It's the nature of the game, So I hate to see him going to the NFC East. But apparently they don't think he's going to hurt us to that point. But I hate to say it, but I'm going to take the over on his receptions because that's what they're going to do. They're going to purposely target Jahan Dotson against us. Like they're probably going to put his receptions line at like 3.5 receptions, and I might take a flyer on an anytime touchdown score on Jahan Dotson too. I might actually do that because you know how revenge games go, and our secondary is not good. Philly Talk Podcast. Shout out to Philly Mike. Make sure you guys subscribe to him too. He's a good guy. Great Eagles content creator. Great Eagles YouTuber. Great guy. Make sure you check out his content. He says, respect on you, Dodson. Take. Also, thanks for Jahan. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna keep it real. Like he's a good player. I'm not gonna sugarcoat and say he's trash. Like a lot of people are saying he's trash. Like he's not trash. He's a good player. He's gonna help you guys. He is. Like I said, he's not gonna get a 1,000-yard season or nothing like that, but he can give you like 500 yards or 4 touchdowns. And that's all the Eagles really need at this point. They don't need Jahan to go out there and put up 1,000 yards. That's not what y'all need. So y'all got him, excuse me, in a perfect situation. Like this is perfect for Jahan. I'm a Jahan Dodson fan. I am. I'm a fan of Jahan. I like his game. I think he's a good player. Is he finesse? Is he soft? Sure, whatever. If you want to call him that, sure. But he's gonna get open. He's gonna get open. He's gonna make plays for you guys. He's a good yak guy too. He's a good player. Deshaun, yeah, we made that trade with you guys. We'll see what happens with Deshaun. The jury is out on Deshaun. We'll see. We'll see what happens with him. We'll see what happens with him though. But I don't want to see any more trades with you guys. I don't want to trade with the Eagles anymore. I really don't. Cogless name said they'll just pick up a vet wide receiver with the waiver wire on Tuesday, and that's not going to help, guys. Like that's not going to change anything in this room. It's not going to change anything in this room. That's not going to help or push the needle or anything like that. Like any move made right now, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster is available. That's terrible. And who else? Michael Thomas. That's terrible. That is awful. Timothy Swindell, shout out to him, man. What's up, man? He says quarterback, DT, and linebackers are really the only position I'm confident about right now. This could be bad. I hope it won't be. And like I said, it's a recalibration year. So, they're evaluating the roster. It's all about Jaden Daniels. So, the over under 6.5. I'm not going to say where I'm at on that right now, but it's an evaluation year. But I do think Jaden will be fine. It's just the offensive line and guys getting open. But we'll see what Cliff does. Their relationship. But I think Jaden will be okay. I think he's going to make it really tough on defenses for sure. He's going to make it really tough. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll probably do 2 more comments. Cortland Sutton, I guess if he gets released or whatever, if he doesn't make the roster or whatever, maybe he could help out. But I don't know if I can really trust him coming in and making a big impact. That would be difficult. Let me look at his numbers here. Cortland Sutton last year, 59 catches for 772 yards, 10 touchdowns. Goodness gracious, Cortland Sutton had a great year last year. Yeah, they're not going to give him up. A lot of teams, they're not going to give up their receivers at this point. So we're not going to add anybody at this point. I think I don't see us really adding anybody. The waiver wire is what we're going to do. But oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he caught the tying touchdown against the Eagles last year in Philly with no time on the clock, so they gained overtime. Yeah, I do remember that. He did. He made a terrible drop, and then he came back and made a catch. He made a good catch after that, and that was about a net gain. But that was a big help. That was a huge play. All right, I'll probably read one more and then wrap it up for tonight, guys. With other wide receivers out there, there's really not much. The cupboard is bare. I already said Michael Thomas and Juju Smith-Schuster. And then we got to see the waiver wire after that. Other than that, there's really not many guys. There's not many guys out there like they went outside Martavis Bryant. That kind of shows you how the free agent market is. It's August. The season's about to start. So all the good wide receivers are on rosters for the most part. So you're not going to find anybody that's really going to move the needle or come in and make an impact. It's not going to happen. Jahan Dotson played well last year. 8 catches for 108 yards in the first game. Did that really happen? 8 catches for 108 yards. Let me look that up real quick, and then I'll probably wrap it up. Did that happen? He had 8 catches in the first game of the season? No, that did not happen. Yeah, in the Eagles game. Yeah, he did cook the Eagles. He did cook the Eagles, didn't he? Okay, he had 8 catches. Jahan had 8 catches for 108 yards against the Eagles. That was in the home game, and he had the touchdown. So the Eagles, they saw that game, and they're like, okay, this guy can play. And he can play, man. He can play. That's what I'm saying. A trash receiver doesn't get 8 catches for 108 yards. That just doesn't happen to me, in my opinion. So, and then he had a touchdown catch against the Patriots. He had a touchdown against the Giants last year, too. So he had his moments. He has moments, You just got to put him in the right situation. But all right, you guys. Who won the trade is to be determined. Of course, I just don't like that we attached the 5th round pick. That's where I ding at Peters a little bit that he had to throw in the 5th round pick. The 7th rounders, not really high on them, but maybe they can parlay the 7th rounders to move up in the draft to this 5th round or something like that, or trade for quarterback depth or something like that. But I think looking at it face value, I think the Eagles kind of got more of what they needed. But the 3rd round pick will help, and we can parlay that, move into the 2nd round, or possibly move it for a corner, move it for a wide receiver or something like that. So, but yeah, that's about it on that, man. We'll see what happens with this, guys. I hate trading with the Eagles. Jahan Dotson is an Eagle, but it didn't work out here. And the comments by Dan Quinn were very telling about wide receiver 2. Was he the bad body language guy that B mistalked about? And Cliff Kingsbury clearly wasn't high on him, and it's a new regime, and Ron Rivera draft picks, and that trade was just really bad. It was really bad. And Chris Olave could have been on this roster. So, but I wish Jahan the best, but except for when he plays against us in the 2 games this season. So, but thank you guys for tuning in. As always, Health Commanders. Peace.